Welcome into the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com for Saturday, July 20th, and our focus is on Monmouth Park. Tom Leach along with Jim Goodman, and it's Haskell Day, the Grade 1 Haskell for 3-year-olds, and featuring the horse that was DQ'd after coming into the wire first at the Kentucky Derby, Maximum Security, looking to bounce back from a loss. We'll get to that in a moment, Jim, but there's an all-stakes pick 4 that starts in the 9th, so we'll go through these stakes races and culminate with the Haskell, and then come back and give the folks a pick 4 play. So start us off in the 9th with the Wolf Hill, a turf sprint at 5.5 furlong.
Yeah, this looks like a real competitive race. Only 7 horses in there, but I couldn't toss very many of them. I think Tricks to Do, the 5 for Trevor McCarthy and Delacour, coming out of a Grade 1 at Woodbine and dropping from 6 furlongs back to 5.5, probably going to be the favorite. I can make a good case for this horse. He's raced well at Woodbine, Pimlico, Laurel, Tampa. Just takes his racetrack with him, so there's no reason why he shouldn't run well at Monmouth. I also would use the Fig Jelly, the 4 for Jason Service. If you don't use Jason Service at Monmouth, you're probably throwing away money. So Fig Jelly also fits there after coming back in the Parks Dash, Grade 3, not running very well, but if he brings his Gulfstream game to this racetrack, he's going to be fine. And then trying to catch maybe a little bit of a price with Justaholic. I think I said there are 7 horses, or there are 8 horses in this race. And Justaholic is a horse that has a race over the track at Monmouth and ran an 88 buyer and an optional 30 after dropping out of stakes races. So horse moves back up in class for Tom Clark and J.C. Ferrer. And I think the horse has a shot as well if he repeats that 88 buyer. So I'm gonna use 3 horses when we get to the pick 4. But my win pick would be Tricks to Do for Arnaud Delacour.
I ended up going to Fig Jelly, trying to beat Tricks to Do. I'm going to forgive the effort on a soft turf on the 6th of July, and go back to that previous 94 buyer figure, and that would stack up nicely. So I'm going to take a shot on that one, and especially I would play that horse if you're getting a decent price, if they go heavier on Tricks to Do, who is certainly the one to beat. And I'm going to throw in Justaholic and Regal Image. I really think you could probably get through it with those 2, but I'm going to throw in Justaholic and Regal Image just because I'm not really going to go deep in any of these races, so I'll go a little deeper here to maybe try to catch a price. 10th race is the Grade 3 Monmouth Cup. They'll go a mile and an eighth, and this is 3-year-olds and up. And I kind of came down to 2 horses here. I'm going to take Cold Front. I like the dropping out of the Met Mile, 7 wins from 10 starts, good speed for Pletcher. Monongahela ran huge last time with a 102 buyer, but has almost twice as many seconds as wins. So I'm going to lean to Cold Front mainly because of that angle over Monongahela. How about you?
Yeah, I thought so too, although Monongahela, at Jason Service again, has a race over the track and won the Iceland by 4 lengths. And I started a single Cold Front here just because of the back class, but got a question mark on the distance. Has never been the distance. He's a 7 furlong, 6 furlong specialist, has been a mile and 16th at Oaklawn and won at that distance, but going a mile and an eighth for the first time and going up against a horse that's in perfect form, I'm going to use both of them in the pick 4. So Cold Front would be my pick, but I think you can get through this race with 2 horses.
11th race is the Matchmaker. They'll go a mile and an eighth on the turf. It's a Grade 3 for fillies and mares 3 and up. How do you see this one?
This is the one that I thought you might get a price on, and if you're going to play a big ticket, I think an all might not be a bad idea here. I think Chad Brown with Competition of Ideas is going to be the big favorite. This horse might be a little bit better at a longer distance. Has run well at a mile and a quarter a couple times at Belmont and Santa Anita. So Competition of Ideas is going to get all the money. But I think you can make a case for I'm So Fancy for Delacour again, who may have a big day. Valedictorian for Kelly Breen, 4 for 5 at Monmouth, including a race as a tune-up in the Eatontown on June 22nd. And then the other horse that I would use would probably be Toriga, the Brazilian, which is a totally unknown to me. I normally would toss horses like that, but for Graham Motion and Johnny Velasquez takes the mount, got to put her in there. So I'm going to go 4 deep here, but I think I'm So Fancy might be my money pick over Competition of Ideas, because I think Competition of Ideas is going to be so short you can't bet her. So that's my pick in the matchmaker. Competition of Ideas is the most likely winner, but I'm going to take I'm So Fancy for a little bit of a price.
Competition of Ideas is my win pick off those two close seconds to Homer Reek. Her two of her career best numbers in those races. Gets Joe Bravo. There was just a lot to like there. But I've got Toriga second just on those angles you mentioned. Motion, Johnny V. It's an aggressive move for Graham Motion. So, you might catch a little bit of a price if she is the goods, as they say. So I'm going to throw her in as 2, and I'm just going to add one more, Valedictorian. You could certainly make a good case for I'm So Fancy. I'm just going to stand with those 3, adding Valedictorian off that nice effort last time. 12th race is the Grade 1 Haskell, mile and an eighth for 3-year-olds. Bob Baffert's won this a bunch, and he's got Mucho Gusto in there, but I don't think he's quite up to the 2 best in here, and that's King for a Day and Maximum Security. And King for a Day ran a 102 buyer last time, and that's as good as anything Maximum Security's run. And he's got the inside post where Maximum Security's on the outside, and it's the 3rd start off the layoff, and I would think he'll be a better price. So mainly that last reason, I'm going to take King for a Day to make it 2 in a row. I really think Maximum Security is the big target is the Travers. I think the Travers is probably going to decide the 3-year-old championship, and I think they're going to do everything to have him right on that day more so than this one. And so I'm going to take King for a Day, and then I think if Maximum Security does run big, certainly if he were to win, but if he does run well again, I'm going to look awfully hard at him by the time they roll around to the Travers. But for this race, King for a Day is my pick in the Haskell. How about you?
Well, it'd be nice to be Gary West and be looking at $1 million race as a tune-up for another $1 million race.
Wouldn't it?
That would be a nice life to live. I'm going to play a little bit against Maximum Security here. He's going to be a big favorite, obviously. King for a Day, was that a fluke the way you won it last time out? It looked like you beat him pretty easily, actually. You went right on by him at the stretch, and Maximum Security didn't have any fight in him. That was a little bit of a layoff. They've been off for 7 weeks after the Derby. He needed that when he went off at 1-20. Won't be 1-20 on Saturday, but I think King for a Day and him are flip a coin between them. But also, you're tossing Mucho Gusto, and I'm not going to do that. For the reason that you talked about, the 1 hole is going to be good for King for a Day. The 7 hole may not be good for Maximum Security. They're going to both go. And what I liked about Mucho Gusto the last time out was Talamo got him to rate behind some not too fast fractions at Santa Anita. If he's learned that, he's better than he was when he was running against the 3-year-olds, and he wasn't quite good enough to win a grade 1. The last 2 races, he got the lead easily in the Las Barreras, but in the Affirmed, he actually tracked the leaders, and I think if he does that, he's got a shot to run down the 1 and the 7. So I'm going to use 3 horses in here. Mucho Gusto, you might get 3-1 on him, and that might be a good play.
Yeah, you probably could. I think that's probably a legitimate hope. Pick 4 tickets. I'm going to go 4 deep in the first leg, 1, 4, 5, 7. 2 in the next leg, 3 and 4. Then 3, 4, 6, and then 1, 7. So that's $24 for 50 cents. So it's a light ticket, so you could play it twice if you wanted. But I'm going with a much lighter ticket than usual for this card. And part of the reason is I don't think it's going to pay a whole lot, so I wouldn't want to spend a whole lot. How about you?
I would agree with that. I think they had some short fields up there. They are going to get a lot of wagering interest because Saratoga, as we tape this, has canceled their races for Saturday for weather issues. It's going to be so hot up there. So they are going to have all the focus on Monmouth. I had a little bit more expensive ticket, but almost structured exactly the same. I went 4, 5, 7 with 3, 4 with 2, 3, 4, 6. So I'm adding 1 horse in the 3rd leg, and I'm adding the Mucho Gusto in the 4th leg, so 1, 5, 7. 4, 5, 7 with 3, 4 with 2, 3, 4, 6 with 1, 5, 7. $36 again. I'm not going to spend a lot either because I just don't see the potential for a price in here. I think it's going to be pretty shocking.
So no Saratoga on Saturday. They're going to run their Saturday card on Sunday, I saw. But you've got not only Monmouth, you got Ellis Park going on Saturday. Obviously, Del Mar is underway now. So it is a great time of year for the summer racing all around the country. Really hot weather this weekend, so stay inside, play through Keeneland Select. We'll be back next week with another edition of the In the Money podcast or KeenelandSelect.com.